r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. People who actually dressed up as a creepy clown during the 2016 clown sightings. Why did you do it? Mayo, I made an app for that called Clown Spotter and it paid for my university tuition. Full story? I asked a friend. He said it was just payday cosplay. Runs up to a stranger. Screams, I need a duck-eyeing medic bag. I had made a sweet tooth costume from scratch and I wasn't about to just throw it away. I had put way too much work into it. Edit. Created an Imgur account to share the photo. Pictures? I dressed up as a creepy clown for Halloween. And a bunch of drunk frat guys drove past me, slammed their brakes, and threatened to beat the shit out me. I've never been more scared in my life. The costume for anyone interested. Imgur.com link. Edit. Well, this blew up more than expected. Here are some more pictures of the clown and some other costumes I've made. Imgur.com link. Holy duck, that's terrifying. Me and my friends tried to because we lived in a small town and nothing interesting happened there. But turns out a group of 13-year-old girls running around with shitty white face paint, all black clothes and red wigs we got for $1 isn't very scary. All that happened is we got grounded. The scariest outcome. About this time of year, nearly Halloween but not too spooky yet, was homecoming for the local high school. I was at my boyfriend's house and his younger sister had a bunch of people over after the dance. They were all hanging out upstairs. I knew they were the type to scare easy. So I hatched a plan. I did some shopping at Walmart. Picked up a purge mask and some face paint. Along with the classic rainbow puffy hair clowns have. I painted the mask to look like a clown. Donned the wig. And just used a black hoodie. With help from his parents. I acquired a ladder and crawled up onto the porch roof. Just outside her window. And banged on the siding while leaning to the window. Poor friend was the first to see me. Let out a shrieking clown. And basically it was around 7 girls that sounded like they were getting murdered. I took off the mask when one came at the window with a hammer and they have not trusted me since. It doesn't help that after the first IT remake, I put a red balloon in her room. Holy duck, you're evil. I remember when this was happening. Facebook posts came out about someone dressed as a clown on my road. I lived on a kinda secluded road. So the rednecks in the area wanted to go hunting. I'm assuming because there were such big strong men to hunt down a supposed child prankster. Well, it turns out the clown was a mentally ill man that ran off in the woods and had been missing for like 3 days. And to make matters worse, the caretaker for the man never made a missing persons report for the man. What happened to the man? I didn't dress up as one, but was a cop in a city that had this happen a few times a week. Between responding to creepy clown calls, multiple stabbings, assaults, attempted murder accusations with the clowns as a victim, and the Pokemon Go trespassers prowlers, it was a really weird and uncomfortable 6 months or so. 2016 was a weird ducking summer. I didn't dress up as one, but my neighborhood was covered in them for about 2 weeks. I lived in a neighborhood that was right on the edge of a sketchy area, so I was used to some interesting characters. But these duckers scared the living shit out of me. I let a friend and her 2 kids going through a rough time move in with me prior to this. And I was watching them for her while she was at work. The daughter, 4, and I were in the kitchen while I was cooking dinner and the baby was asleep. We'd seen the clowns a few times at the end of the road under a streetlight that was blinking. But they never got that close to the house. But I was already on high alert because of it. I was cutting veggies and there was a window directly in front of me. And I hadn't been looking out of it, but I felt someone staring at me. I look up. And like something out of a ducking horror movie, that clown is staring up at me from my driveway like 6 inches from my window. I had a giant knife in my hand and I tried not to lose it because I didn't want to scare Cammy, friend's kid. So I kind of just held up the knife and stood right where I was and stared back. This mother ducker never moved. He just stayed right where he was for several minutes. I backed up and got my gun out of the case and called 911. They never found him, but it scared the living shit out of me and I was a nervous wreck having those kids by myself that night. Duck those clowns. Damn. I hate that happened to you all. I bet you was on edge for several weeks after that. Did it ruin October, Halloween, for you? Update. I'm glad y'all are so amused by Southern twang. They always said the South will rise again. My brother actually did it. He dressed up as one and sat in a forest in our town. I ran into him, not knowing it was his hobby, and was scared shitless. I just asked him this and he said because our town is full of shitheads and I want to scare them. That's my brother for ya. Because our town is full of shitheads and I want to scare them. I ran into him, not knowing it was his hobby, and was scared shitless. Not me. But two people dressed up as clowns and in our art room we have these large windows. And the two people dressed up as clowns jumped up at the windows and the school actually went on lockdown. The two clowns got arrested 15 minutes after. Technically I did it in 2014. I worked for Warner Brothers as an intern. I answered an ad I saw on my way to work through the lot for a marketing campaign. But they were oddly vague about what it was for except for viral marketing. I now assume it was for IT. I had been a creepy clown for Halloween 5 years earlier and still had a costume and they offered me $100 per a day I did it. I had to be photographed at least once and put on social media to get paid. It actually was really fun. Kind of like working in a haunted house. Though I learned to mostly go for teenagers. Much younger and they would be too scared. Much older and they couldn't take the joke and would be angry. I did it 3 times in total. But only got paid for the first 2 times. Mainly in Santa Monica and Venice Beach. I have no idea if the 2016 people were part of the same campaign or maybe were inspired by the campaign or if it was completely unrelated. I did sign a NDA. But hey, it's been 5 years and I really don't think they are coming after me or anything. Edit. Just to reiterate, I'm not even sure if it was Warner Brothers. I just know they had ads posted on the WB lot. It was through a marketing firm that specialized in viral marketing. They were, as I said, really vague. I'm also not sure it's actually related to the creepy clown thing that happened 2 years later. They were super fun to work for. And I really doubt they were behind the actual trend in any real capacity. At best they may have inspired it and most people were copycats. Warner Brothers wants to know your location. I'm a high school teacher and it was the only way I could be a dong to teenagers without any consequences. You're a Scooby-Doo villain. My friend did it. He looked into windows to creep out whoever was inside. And the moral for him was to never climb 2-story houses. Go on. I only did it once and it was to scare my friend while he was out walking his dog at about 11 PM. I texted his mom earlier that day and asked if she could make him walk the dog late. And she did. I stood at the end of my driveway, which is about a quarter mile long and surrounded by thick woods on either side so you couldn't see very far into it. I crouched behind the pad-mounted transformer box giggling like a little kid as I heard him approach. I waited for him to pass then crept down the road behind him carefully as to not make any noise. After a minute of careful creeping I was right behind him so I yelled and wrapped him up in a bear hug from behind. Let me tell you. He freaked the duck out. He jumped about 3 feet up in the air and shrieked like a little girl. I went perfectly until I was tackled by his Great Dane and drowned in slobber. She recognized me when I took the mask off so I didn't get mauled. I love the effort people will put into ducking with their friends. I dressed up as a clown for Halloween. Just because. And I got hit so many times by people thinking I was one of those killer clowns. Ruined 11-year-old kid's candy collection. Edit. Changed men's to kids. An 11-year-old man? You'll grow up fast. Giving out candy at Halloween. Didn't know about the sightings till later but was pretty upsetting by the kids all screaming "Don't stop mom" and "Go go go." Not me, but I saw it on the news that someone dressed as a killer clown posted on Facebook saying that they'll go to random school name and kill some people there. That school had a lockdown. Don't know what happened after that. Shoulder put a serious tag on. I'm not sure how many serious answers one can give to a question about creepy clowns. My neighbor is a clown. She doesn't do it to be scary. But she is. I wanted to get shot. Full story or it didn't happen. My friend did this because he is a tortured soul. He's currently unable to hang out until after 2 PM today because he's at a safety training for a haunted house that he's worked at the past couple of years. They must be ready to start back up for the season. I had a mate do it for YT. He was trying pretty hard to get a decent view count to kickstart the channel. Think he was on 2-3k subs. He rounded up some friends. Invited me. I chose to not to partake. And set it all up in a multi-story car park local to us. 1 million views. He cleared 1 million views on this clown video. Despite it being fake and set up. Bearing in mind his highest view count was 14k. And he averaged 500-1000 on new videos. He ended up getting publicity on local news. A visit from the cops. And a jump to around 6-8k subs. He thought about doing it again for real. But decided otherwise. Think the warning from the cops was enough. It started as a dare. Then we became a group of 5 that would just roam around town from 2 to 6 AM since we worked and got off late. The town's police knew it was us and would joke around saying one day they might shoot us by accident. We stopped the day after. I tried to advertise my local circus but instead I advertised getting shot in the end. Made no profit. What do you mean? You got profit. You got a bullet and a new hole you can pull tricks out of. My fraternity brother Tucker did. He was trying to become an influencer and used the frat to make content. He thought it was okay because he saw that as doing work. He also grew up with 4 brothers who were always messing with each other. Other than that, there wasn't much else to it. In the end it amounted to nothing because the fraternity's regional director made him delete everything. Not related to this. But interestingly enough 2016 would have been the year Pennywise came back. That's a popular theory as to why the killer clown thing started. A few IT fans just having fun turned into hundreds of idiots running around causing chaos. My neighborhood had 3 idiots dress up as clowns and try to scare anyone. First one got one ass cheek ripped by a dog. He almost bled to death. Second got shot and is thankfully alive. Though police had to put the shooting as self-defense. Third was beaten up by the neighborhood men as they thought he was a robber. Did they fumigate that clown car? If not, they just keep coming and coming. I live in a college town and the clowns were everywhere. It was an awful time. Walking across campus one night, I saw a car speeding down the street with a drunk clown hanging out the sunroof swinging around a wooden baseball bat. At the stop sign they scared a couple of pedestrians and I heard the driver yelling at the drunk clown to get back inside because they were only trying to scare the frat girls. Not sure why scaring frat girls was the goal. But further down the street the clown got out and started chasing some women, so I guess they accomplished their goal. I think for some dumb reason I thought it would be funny to play into the meme I'm a circus performer, but I remember it pissing off the majority of my performer friends because it delegitimized the study they have done to be where they are. I'm realizing just how ducking wild 2016 was. I always thought with this clown shit, in the UK, it was simply a matter of time before some young twat jumped out in front of a couple, like a scaffolder in his 40s or something, and scared his wife. Then absolute carnage would ensue. And the clown screaming mate it was just for my Insta whilst he got the living shit beat out of him. And that's pretty much why it stopped, lol. I can't speak for all of us creepy clowns. But I did it to seek out unwitting victims for cartoonish torture and eventual slap-happy zany murder. Why do I suddenly get flashbacks for Who Framed Roger Rabbit and melting cartoon characters in vats of acid? Shudder. I had to Google what the hell you're talking about. I don't know how I missed this. I must have been asleep that year. God, I only wish I could have slept through 2016. Half of them had a death wish and the others were dumb enough to think it was funny. I work at a school district's police department as a nighttime dispatcher and we have 4,500 plus cameras monitoring all campuses. Back during the clown craze, these 4 kids decide to break into a campus each wearing a creepy clown mask to hide their faces. Needless to say, in that initial moment of seeing them on camera, my heart dropped. No one wants to see multiple clowns armed with baseball bats at 3 in the morning. I'm sure it was way more terrifying on the officer's end. The kids were caught, and when asked why they did what they did, they said, "I don't know. Just wanted to." Don't think there's a lot of thought behind most clown masks. Ducking like and subscribe.